What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Backyard Barbecuing. Today we're going to be making some beef back ribs. Now if you're not subscribed, I hope this video does it. These are some beef back ribs. These are not to get confused with dino ribs. Dino ribs tend to have a lot more meat on the top. So we're going to open this up. I'm not too sure where I bought this from. I don't know if it was from Costco or it's from Safeway, but gives us something to cook up this weekend. Let's open that right up. All right, so there's not too much trim work that we're gonna do. You know what? I decided I'm gonna leave the membrane on. For some reason, it's taking off a lot of fat with it. So we're gonna cook these things with the membrane on. Let's get it ready for some seasoning. Now, I'm not gonna use any kind of binder. What I decided to do is if you just rub the meat down a little bit, it'll tend to get a little tacky for your rub to stick. Now with our meat rubbed down, we're gonna use 1 part coarse black pepper, 1/2 part kosher salt. We'll get the edges. This up. Should have started with the back side, so that way the presentation side stayed nice, but we'll just touch it up. We're going to be cooking this on the offset today, so that is looking pretty good to me. Let's get the grill ready. And of course, some post oak. And while we wait for our pit to come up to temp, we're at about 150 degrees. We're gonna smoke these things consistently in between 250 and 275. Our goal is to build a nice bark on them. All right, now it's time to throw them on. We're gonna place them about midway through. And we'll close this up and we'll check back in about an hour. All right, so it's been about let me adjust the camera. It's been about, I would say 2 to 2.5. Actually, let me see the time. No, it's more like 3. We're starting to get some nice color on these ribs. Now, typically at this point, because the surface is starting to dry out some, I would hit it with some applesauce, or I'm sorry, not applesauce, apple juice mixed in with some apple cider vinegar. Unfortunately, I didn't realize I don't have any apple juice, but what I did find in the fridge is like some mango juice and some apple cider vinegar mixed. It's probably about 25% apple cider, and then the rest, 75%, is this mango juice. We're gonna see how it tastes, but we're just gonna start spritzing the surface of this so it doesn't dry out too much. Keep these ribs hydrated. Smells pretty sweet, and you can see the ends here are starting to get a little burnt. That's kind of to be expected since it's closer to the metal. But again, we'll just spritz it once every couple of hours, maybe once an hour, and we'll check back in later. All right, so we have been adding charcoal pretty consistently. We're at about the hour 6 mark now. Now it's time to pull these ribs off, wrap them up in some foil, and we're gonna throw them back on the offset. There they are. These things are hot. We're gonna wrap these things up in some foil, like I said. So let's get some of this out. It's a little windy here in California. Still a nice day. So you can hear my neighbors partying. What we're gonna do actually is we're gonna add in some beef tallow, liquid gold. I'll share a link where I got this from. We're gonna add it right to the top, kind of just baste it in there. All right, let's wrap these things up nice and tight. So now that they're all done and wrapped up, I'm gonna throw them back on the offset until we start to get some nice tenderness into them. All right, just a quick update here. We're starting to lose some daylight, but that's not a problem. We're not really gonna probe for temperature. We're really just probing for tenderness. Let me find it. And we're not very tender yet. And so we gotta continue to keep cooking. The end felt pretty tender, but the middle's not as tender as we'd like it. And plus, if we can see the temperature, just to have an idea, we're only at 155. Got a long ways to go. All right, so it's a little late right now. I think I got a late start on these ribs. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna treat them like a brisket. I'm gonna put them to hold in my oven overnight at an extremely low temperature. So I'm talking more like 150 degrees, and I'll check back with you guys in the morning. One overnight rest later, and here's where we are. We've got some pretty nice tenderness that I can feel. This is the first time I'm opening it just for you guys. Ooh, this is looking nice. Let's get this out of the way. So these are looking really nice. Let's flip these over. You got some nice pullback on the bone. I held these in the oven overnight at about 150 degrees. Let's see how tender they are. Yeah, if you can see that, it's got a nice smoke ring. Let's give them a bite. Nice smoky flavor. That is good. Clean off the bone, of course. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna vacuum seal everything into individual bones, maybe a couple of bones per package, and I'll save some of these. Now remember what we did is we hit them with some salt and pepper, 1 part pepper, half part salt. Didn't use a binder, put them in the smoker for a few hours. Then, since it got a little late, we threw them in the oven overnight for about 9 hours. They turned out delicious. That's gonna do it for today's video, folks. Again, if I earned your subscription, I really appreciate it. Peace. After editing this video, I decided to do a conclusion of what I thought of beef ribs. Do I recommend cooking them? I would say yes. It's a cheap alternative to dino ribs, which can tend to be a little bit more per pound. This rib was about $4.50 per pound, so making the rack of ribs a little under $20. So would I recommend doing it? Yes. You can experiment with them with different types of rubs. I know traditionally you use salt and pepper, but with a cheaper rack of ribs you can kind of get a little crazy with it. So would I recommend? Yes. And until next time.